Good morning, students. Today we are going to read another topic of this chapter, and the name of the topic is trading procedure in a stock exchange. As we have learned so far that in a stock exchange a person can buy or sell shares. So if any one of you want to buy or sell shares or debentures in the stock exchange, then what you should do? How should you proceed? So in this topic, we'll discuss that one in details. So please listen it carefully, and I hope you will understand, and you will also try to do some transactions in the stock exchange when you will become a demat account holder, and you will also can earn some money. So let us start it. So the first step in that trading procedure is to select a selection of a broker. Now, selection of a broker is very much important in a stock exchange because unless means whatever transaction a person want to do in a stock exchange, they have to do it through a registered broker of that particular stock exchange. So without that broker, no one can do any transaction in the stock exchange. So this is the first step, is to select a broker who will buy or sell securities on behalf of the speculator or investor. Speculator means who is just speculating that the price of a particular share will go up or go down, and accordingly they will take action. They will either buy or sell those shares. And investors means generally who buy some shares for a long period of time. So in this regard, we have to keep one thing in mind, that brokers may be individual, a particular person, or a partnership firm, or a corporate bodies. Corporate bodies means there is a that may be a company which has specifically established to transact those securities in the stock exchange. So after you have selected a broker, next step what you have to do, you have to opening a demat account with depository. The person have to open a demat account. So in this regard, first of all, we have to understand where the meaning demat. The word demat is a short form of dematerialized. So what is the meaning of dematerialized? Dematerialized means that is not in materialistic form. For example, just to think, when you do the let me give one example. When you recharge your mobile phone or DTH through your any of the online payment app, Phone Pay or Google Pay or whatsoever. In that, what happens? You pay money, but you don't pay any currency note to anyone. You just pay the money from your bank account, that is electronically, and the bank and that mobile company also send that much talk time in your mobile, that is also electronically. These all things happened where nothing physical matter is involved. So in case of share market also, we have to do all the transactions that take place, that is in the demat form, that is not in the physical form, that is completely in the electronic form, and that's why we call that one as the demat account, as it is that particular transactions or whatever transaction you will do that don't happen in a physical form, that is rather on an electronic format, and as such it is known as dematerialized form. Now whenever you want to do any transaction in the stock exchange, you have to first open that dematerialized form. In case you have to keep in mind, the securities are held in the electronic form by a depository. A depository is an institution or organization which holds securities in electronic form in which trading is done. At present, there are two depositories in India. One is known as NSDL, National Security Depository Limited, and another one CDSL, Central Depository Service Limited. Depositories, they interact with the investors through depository participants, or the PDS are agents, stockbrokers. Your depository participants will maintain your securities account balances and intimate to you the status of your holding from time to time. So just to think about your bank account, bank always give you a transaction details, and that bank also send that one in the electronic format. On the same way that this depository participant also will send you the status of your demat account time to time, within 15 days or within 1 month, and like that. Next thing, next step in that process is that to place the order. So you have visited a broker, you have selected a broker, you have opened a demat account. Next thing that now you are ready that yes, you can do some transactions, and therefore what you have to do, you have to place the order. In that place of order, you have to either you will give that order to your broker to buy that particular thing, buy a particular share, or sell a particular share. Now this particular order you have to give either through telephone. You can directly go to that broker and you can direct seat, you can visit that office, you can tell that broker personally, or you can give that information through telephone, or you can also give that order through email. The instructions should be specific, means how many shares you want to buy or sell and what should be the price. Okay. And one more thing we have to keep in this regard, that only the securities of listed companies can be traded in the stock exchange. What is the meaning of listed company? Each and every company, they have to list their share. List their share is nothing more than just they have to register their company's share in those stock exchanges. And if that particular company's share is registered in a particular stock exchange, then only you can place the order about for that particular share, otherwise not. Once the broker will receive the order from the investors, then the broker will go to execute the order. They will search person who want to, suppose if you have given place that order to your broker and you want to buy some share. Now the broker's duty will, they will try to find out those people who want to sell that many shares, and when they will get it, they will just buy it on behalf of you. So according to the instruction of the investor, the broker buys or sells securities. The broker then issues a contract note. A contract note between the client and the broker. A copy of the contract note contains the name and the price of securities, name of the parties, brokerage charges, etc. It is signed by the broker. Okay. So once that broker will get that order from you, the client, the broker will try to execute the order. If they can execute the order, they will send that contract note, and it may happen that the broker may not execute the order. There may be various reasons why that broker may not execute the order. In either case, means if that broker is unable to execute that particular order, they will just inform you that this order has not been executed. After execution, means you have either the broker sold those shares or those brokers purchased those shares. Now come the fifth point, that is known as the settlement. Suppose you are the client. If you have purchased some shares, you have to pay the money, or if you have sold some shares, you will get some money. So whatever case it may be, if let us think that you have purchased some shares and that money you have to pay within 3 days. How many days? Within 3 days, and that is known as equity spot markets follow a T plus 2. T plus 2 day cycle. That means T stands for today. Today means आज के दिन plus 2 days. It means total altogether the client will get 3 working days. That is very vital. It is not 3 days only. It is 3 working days to repay the amount of the money for how many shares that person have purchased. This means that any trade taking place on Monday gets settled by Wednesday. If there is no holidays in between Monday or Tuesday or Thursday, okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if there is so all trading exchanges takes place, and one more thing you have to keep in mind, that all trading exchanges take place between 9:15 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. according to the Indian Standard Time, and your stock exchanges are open from Monday to Friday. So this is the procedure. If you want to see that whole procedure in a nutshell, then this is the procedure. So first you have to select the broker who will make the deal on behalf of you. Then you have to open that dematerialization account or demat account, what you call popularly as demat account. Then the client have to place the order either to buy or to sell. Then that broker will execute that order on behalf of the client, and that is the execution of order by the broker. And last, settlement of the deal, that either you have to pay money, the client have to pay money, or the client will receive the money, and that is known as the payment, that is known as the settlement of deal. In this regard, there are two terms we have learned so far. Those are dematerialization, and another one is the demutualization. Although both those two things are quite similar, but they have some differences. Dematerializations means when the transactions of securities take place through book entry only, then it is known as dematerialization. And what is the meaning of book entry? Means here nothing happened in physical format. Everything happened in the electronic format. If you will receive some shares in your account, that exchange will write you have received this many shares. And if you have sold some shares, that means that many shares will be just simply deducted from your account. You will not receive anything in physical format, and that is why it is known as dematerialization. According to this system, no transfer of documents in material form. Material form is in hard copy, in paper. You will receive everything in the electronic format. Transfers are made only by the debiting or crediting the demat account of the security holder or the company. So that is why it is known as dematerialization. Demutualization means there must be some differentiation. Differentiation of what? differentiation between the managing authority and trading authority in the stock exchange. Those who are the owner of the stock exchange, they should not trade in that particular stock exchange. That is the meaning of demutualization. This thing restrict those owner of a particular stock exchange to make any transactions or do any transaction in that particular stock exchange, and that is why it is known as demutualization. So that's all, students, for today. What we have learned about the different what are the different procedures to do the transactions in a stock exchange. Hope you have understood. We'll meet you again in the next class. Till then, thank you. Take care. Good morning, student. Today we are going to learn a new topic, that is the Securities and Exchange Board of India. Securities and Exchange Board of India is popularly known as SEBI. The SEBI was established by the Government of India on 12th April 1988 as an interim administrative body to promote orderly and healthy growth of securities market and for investors protection. The ordinance was later replaced by an act of the Parliament known as Securities and Exchange Board of India Act. So this SEBI came into existence through an act known as Securities and Exchange Board of India. And what is the main objective behind this SEBI was to make a healthy growth of securities market and to protect the investors. So what was the reason, what was the purpose and role of SEBI? That is the next topic. The basic purpose of SEBI is to create an environment to facilitate efficient mobilization and allocation of resources through the securities market. Allocation of resources, we have learned this thing in that beginning, that a stock exchange or secondary market or this financial market, they act between a bridge between those two savers and those who need the money between them. So this environment aims at meeting the needs of the three groups which basically constitute the market. Who are those group members? Issuers of the securities, that is the companies, the investors, those who have money, and the market intermediaries, those brokers. To the issuers, it aims to provide a marketplace in which they can confidently look forward to raise finances they need in an easy, fair and efficient manner. To the investors, that means those small investors who have money in their hand and want to invest in the stock exchange, it should protect the rights and interests through adequate, accurate and authentic information and disclosure of information on a continuous basis. And to the intermediaries, it should offer a competitive, professionalized and expanding market with adequate and efficient infrastructure so that they are able to render better service to the investors and issuers. So these are the main purpose of the role of SEBI. Next topic we have to learn, that is the objectives of SEBI. What are the different objectives SEBI used to perform? So objectives of SEBI. to regulate stock exchanges and the securities industry to promote their orderly functions, to protect the rights and interests of investors and to guide and educate them, to prevent trading malpractices and achieve a balance between self-regulation by the securities industry and its statutory regulation. And fourth point is to regulate and develop a code of conduct and fair practices. So these are the objectives of SEBI. Next we have to learn about the next point what you have to learn, that is the functions of SEBI. SEBI have three functions and those are regulatory functions, development functions, and third one is the protective functions. So let us first see what is the regulatory functions. Registration of brokerers and sub-brokerers and other players in the market. Next point, registration of collective investment schemes and mutual fund. Next point, prohibition of fraudulent and unfair trade practices. There should be a clarity between all the transactions. Controlling insider trading and takeover bids and imposing penalties on such practices. This insider trading means someone who is very close to a person. Suppose let me give one example, you can understand. Suppose you work in an organization and you are in a very high post. So you can get plenty of informations which are not available in the market. Now you have used those information and you have told to your close friend or your relative that these are the things happened in our business in the recent past, and due to this either the share price is going to high, going to increase or going to decrease, and accordingly your friend or your relative purchased or sold those shares. This particular thing what you did, that is known as the insider trading. That means you are, with the help of the position of a particular person in a particular organization, if he or she is getting some extra information about that institution and using that particular information they are buying or selling shares, that is known as insider trading. Fifth point is the levying fee or other charges for carrying out the purpose of the act. And sixth point is the performing and exercising such power under Securities Contracts Act 1956 as may be delegated by the Government of India. So these are the regulatory functions. Next we have development functions. SEBI promotes training and intermediaries of the securities markets. Training of intermediaries. Number two, SEBI undertakes measures to develop the capital markets by adopting a flexible and adaptable approach. Next point, conducting research and publishing information useful to all market participants. Number four, promotion of fair practices and code of conduct of all self-regulatory organizations. These are the development functions. And the last types of functions, those are known as the protective functions. Prohibition of fraudulent and unfair trade practices like making misleading statements, manipulations, price rigging, etc. Number 2, controlling insider trading and imposing penalties for such practices. Number 3, undertaking steps for investors' protection. And number 4, promotion of fair practices and code of conduct in security market. So that's all for today, and that's all for this chapter. Thank you to all of you students. I hope you have learned these all things in these chapters. We'll meet again. Until then, take care, enjoy study, and enjoy life.